Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran and Shadowlands is finally here, and a lot of us have been partaking in the new leveling experience, which I gotta say has been quite enjoyable. Besides DCs, besides getting lagged out, besides not being able to connect to your server, for the most part, when it works well. Now, there's a good chance some of you guys might have even gotten to level 60, and you're wondering what is there to do in Shadowlands now for the first week. It's going to be a few weeks before the seasonal stuff begins, but there are some things you can start working on right now, whether you want to raid, Mythic Plus, or PvP in this brand new expansion for the first season. So, while Shadowlands doesn't tell you exactly what you should be doing, like in previous expansions, it's a lot more open-ended. This video will try to guide you guys on some of the things that you should be focusing no matter what kind of gameplay content you are trying to get into. So let's cover that in today's video. Blizzard decided to make Shadowlands in terms of endgame content a lot more open-ended. It's a lot more up to the player to choose what they want to do. In the past, the game would kind of be very hand-holdy and tell you gotta do dailies, you gotta farm your AP, you gotta get your weekly islands done, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But it's a lot more open-ended going into this expansion. It's a lot more up to you what you want to do. The only thing the game technically has you do on the weekly basis is get renown, which can be done from your Covenant Sanctum. And with your Covenant Sanctum, every single week you'll be able to get a certain amount of renown and catch up if you're behind for whatever reason in order to progress with the storyline, to progress with your character, to progress with your reputation inside of your Sanctum, and offer you more rewards on a weekly basis. So I think that'll be my first recommendation. Get your renown done, because that's the only thing the game technically has you do on a weekly basis. Replenish the reservoir will be your questline in every single Covenant, where the game will ask you to collect 1,000 anima. Doesn't mean you have to do it in a sitting, you could do it over a week, so you shouldn't worry too much, but you can farm it if you want to. Another quest is called Return Lost Souls. However, as of making this video, this quest hasn't been showing up in people's logs at all, so there's a good chance that Blizzard might have to do some kind of a hotfix to re-enable it. So if you're not seeing this one, probably not your fault. So just be on the lookout if the game in your Sanctum has you returning to the mod to rescue more souls. But if you are done with all that, and if you are looking for things to do, to be proactive, to prepare for your raiding environment, to prepare for your dungeons, and even prepare for PvP, what are some of the things that you can start doing right now? Well, Tourgas is available, up to layer 3. Complete 3 layers of Tourgas to get your Soul Ash. A Soul Ash will be used at a later time to craft your legendaries. Not all the aspects of legendaries are available on week 1 to make sure that people that are leveling alts are not super behind. So getting your Tourgas done right now is probably one of the more productive things you can do, no matter what kind of content you're going to get into, because legendaries are going to empower whatever type of gameplay that you are interested in. Another thing you should get into are callings. They're very similar to Emissary system of Battle for Azeroth in previous expansions. Callings, however, are a little bit different because world quests have changed a bit. In the past, world quests used to be very simple and easy, but now world quests are a little bit more interactive and a lot more engaging and take a little bit longer to do. So callings are also going to take a little bit longer. This means that this kind of work and getting your dailies done is a lot more, in a sense, fulfilling to some players, because it feels like you're actively having to do something. You're not mindlessly going in an area, tagging 20 mobs and then getting completion, or interacting with 5 items and getting completion. Instead, you're actually having to do it and solve it like an actual quest, like as if you were leveling a character and had to do a quest. You are actually kind of, sort of, in some cases challenged, maybe because of the gear, because enemies hit a lot harder, but also some of the activities, it takes you a little bit longer. But starting to get callings down is going to be good. It'll replenish your anima for your Covenant Sanctum, it'll give you rewards from gold, which is always going to be good since you need to buy consumables, and there's enchants, and there's all these different oils now for your weapons. There's so many things to buy in the auction house with this expansion. The earlier you get yourself oriented with callings and what they are and how they work, the better it might be for you going forward. Again, no matter what piece of content you're going to get into. Then we have the weekly rewards that you may be able to get from a variety of different content. For example, inside of Oribos, when you go to the inn and you go to the Under Sanctum, you'll be able to find some quests for completion of dungeons, which give you reputation as well as anima. And if you're someone who's interested in PvP, you'll find that next to the PvP vendors, also in Ouroboros, gives you a quest for getting honor in outside of Battlegrounds. Will start you with a bit of honor at the very beginning, and also will provide you that much needed anima. These will be weekly events that you'll do once a week, so if you want to get this knocked out on a Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on your region, that is something you can start getting yourself prepped for kind of like a schedule on a next weekly basis for this expansion. From there on, we got PvE content, and if you're someone who's thinking of getting into Mythic Pluses or raids, dungeons is one of the things you can start getting into right now. Mythic Dungeons are pretty good in terms of getting you great gear if you are lucky. But also you can do heroic dungeons, as this can give you conduits, this can give you gear, trinkets, a variety of different items for you to use in your travels going forward. But if you're someone who is interested in any PvE content going into the Shadowlands, getting your Mythic 0 dungeons done for this week will be a priority for you. Whether you want to raid, whether you want to score for that M+, you are going to have to start doing some Mythic Pluses, and Mythic 0s will be your start. It'll give you decent gear, it'll give you upgraded conduits if you are lucky, but also it'll give you the knowledge of the mechanics and give you an insight in how things work. So try to find some groups for LFG, maybe with your guild, maybe with other players that are looking to get those Mythic 0s done. There'll be plenty of other players out there that are trying to finish it. Then we also have PvP, and with PvP you can start farming that honor. Honor will be used to progress your character and get you some decent gear. In fact, if you're someone who's interested in primarily PvP and you're thinking, okay, well, where do I get the gear? In the previous expansion of Battle for Azeroth, we started with Mythic Pluses to get you gear to PvP, and then you went to Raid to get you gear to PvP. You didn't really PvP to get the gear for PvP. You got the gear from other content and then you used it in PvP. In this expansion, it's going to be a lot more simple. You go PvP, get yourself honor, you buy honor gear, and you can use those honor points in order to upgrade said honor gear to higher levels. And that's something you can start doing without having to dive into dungeons, without having to dive into any of the other PvE content. PvP is going to, I won't say be its own endgame, but it's going to be a lot more formulated and have a little bit more steps to it nowadays. You will be able to start with very basic gear, very similar to what normal dungeon players will be able to start with. And eventually you'll be able to upgrade that gear to item level similar to the heroic, which is similar to the PvE players. And then when Mythic Pluses are open, arenas should be open at the same time, which is where you'll be able to take your skills and your metal into the 2v2, 3v3 scenarios and try to see if you can best other players for that conquest loot. And then of course there's also going to be the weekly rewards as well, both PvE and PvPers can do, but PvP now has a more defined path forwards if that's something that you're interested in. Finally, there is farming, and there's plenty for you to farm. And I wanted to put this at the end of the video because not a lot of you guys like to farm, but if you are interested in some of the things you can keep working on, you can collect anima, which will not be necessary for you to progress your character like AP has been in the past. Anima will be used in order to upgrade your sanctum. With your sanctum, you will be able to open up more areas like a travel system, or even a special activity for your covenant, whether it's Venthyr and their parties, or Necrolords and their kind of abomination Build-A-Bear workshop thing, or even an adventure table. So it's something that you can continue progressing on, which will have cosmetic rewards, but it's not also necessary. Then there's the Maw, and you can farm Stygia. Stygia will be useful for later, but it's not really something that has uses right now. With Stygia, eventually, you'll be able to buy sockets into gear. When you have that one prize piece that you love and you want to make sure it has the best in slot sets for it, you'll be able to socket it. But with us having not the best raid gear and PvP gear just yet, we're not going to be socketing anything. Then, of course, you'll also be able to use it to upgrade some conduits, but with us not having a lot of conduits, there's nothing to really upgrade. So Stygia will be something useful at a later time that you'll want to get into. Not necessary to do it right now, but if you want to, and if you're someone who wants to spend more time into WoW, doing something proactive, Stygia farming in the Maw will be another activity. But the Stygia and all that stuff is more like scraping the barrel, as the other activities are pretty overwhelming to some of you already as is. So these are going to be some of my recommendations, my personal recommendations on some of the things that you can get into when it comes to the first week of this expansion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully this video was clear enough to help break you guys down. What are some of the activities you may want to think about engaging into with this expansion? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in the next one.